Welcome back to Healthy Rebel Radio. I'm your host, Dr. David Dizer, and I'm here with my co-host, Amy Lane. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Let's jump into it. So here we are. We're back and we have a new setup and it's great.
I love Closet Office.
I'm so comfortable right now in this closet office.
Before True, we had Real Office. And then since True, we've had Kitchen Table Office.
Yeah, right.
And now we have Closet Office. And I'm quite happy with Closet Office.
Me too. Closet office is awesome.
Love it.
Do you think the listeners would mind if I stopped us and listened to that intro to see if it sounded okay?
Like cut this off and go back?
And we're back. Thanks for waiting, everyone.
Yeah.
That sounds all right.
It's a new setup, but also it's new mics.
It's new mics. And my voice is just so much deeper than yours.
Oh, I wish my voice was deeper. I actually, for a while, tried to work on that.
Yeah.
A few years ago. I was deep into the some of the Wayne Dyer meditations. In one of his lectures I was listening to, he was talking about how he trained himself to talk that deep, and then he sends you back to audio of what his voice was like before he trained himself. So I got really into that. Then obviously I just got to I had to do things in life.
Yeah,
I didn't
right.
have such time
Yeah.
as voice training.
It's a big difference, though, if you listen to, like, his initial...
He did an amazing job.
Yeah, he did.
You
Like,
can
the first
definitely
5
do
years
it.
we're just not as deep.
No, and then he just commanded.
And he's stuck with it.
I can't even pretend to go deep. I'll have to work on it.
It's really, like, when I give presentations, I'm not deep at all. I'm just overexcited, and
I always tell you.
I'm just thrilled to be up there.
when
I
you're
love an audience.
When you're excited, you get like an octave higher.
I have to
and
totally
I
take it
always
down.
tell you, take it down.
That's why I just spent the last 15 minutes trying to figure out how to hear myself in this microphone, because if I can't hear myself to check it,
You get excited.
then I'll go off the rails.
Yeah. My saying to Dave before he goes to do anything important is be cool.
You gotta be cool.
And be cool means don't get too excited.
Don't get too excited. It helps True too. I say to her and she's like,
she
"That's
totally
amazing."
gets it.
Yeah.
Well, that was what my dad told me
Was it?
when I was young.
Right. Be
That
cool.
was his slogan. Before he went anywhere, just be cool. Not like be cool as in hip. Like,
Yeah.
have a
I always take it as stay centered.
That's what I'm trying to say. Be cool. Tone it down.
Tone it
Bring
down.
your heart rate down.
Yes, right. We're recording this in the third weekend of May, 2020, and we haven't recorded one since sort of mid-COVID, third week of April, I think it
I feel
was.
like it was my dark episode.
The dark episode. Yeah, it wasn't that dark, but it was just a dark time for everyone.
Well, I always feel like I'm dark because I feel like I like to talk about reality, and I like
Right.
to talk about human emotion, and I like to talk about things that are uncomfortable. And, you'd think 37 years into life, I would realize that other people don't feel that way.
It's not enjoyable for them.
They don't want to do it. But I just keep pushing forward
Yeah, right.
and keep saying, whatever.
No, I think people got a lot out of it.
Well, I got a lot of private messages that people felt relieved because they
Nice.
too wanted to have real conversations that weren't well received in their circles, and they felt uncomfortable or it made them feel bad. And a lot of people resonate with the culture of like, you can't talk about being upset or you're depressed, or you can't talk about being scared or you have an anxiety disorder.
Right.
So I did get a lot of people that
Yeah.
they liked it.
Yeah, definitely.
So I mean, all I can do is be honest.
Exactly. I think that's really why people listen. People listen to hear you be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same reason why people come see me in the clinic. It's like I've had so many cases over the last month or so where it's been people trying, give me their impression of what's happening, and then I give mine, and from the standpoint of I think they're looking for the truth. And the truth is not the most enjoyable thing, and it's often different
It's
than
uncomfortable.
what they're thinking about all day.
Right.
long.
And I'm not saying stay there.
No.
I'm never saying like walk around in doom and gloom, but if you are a listener to the podcast, or if you've followed my blog, or if you followed us for any amount of time, you know that I'm a believer in facing the dark. I believe in the dark night of the soul. I believe it's there for a reason. I believe in going through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel it's the only way out. I think that's where growth happens. I think that's where brilliance shines. I think that's where you meet your real self. And I think that's where you actually can set on fire those things. You can leave them behind.
Mm-hmm.
You can leave those anxieties. You can leave those fears. It's the only way to really grow,
Mm-hmm.
is to go there and to look at it and talk about it and hold it and feel those things. I feel like I've watched in my lifetime people just run and run and run and run from, wounds or anxieties or fears. And then they spend their whole life on that slow burn
Mm-hmm.
of never really feeling joy, of never really feeling comfortable, of never feeling realized. And to me, that is just a million times worse than facing, a few days of like intense sadness and then burning through it.
Right.
And and growing as a human.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. You're moved by regret. And I think it's
love
because
regret.
you've been through so much.
I love
that
embarrassment.
Yeah.
I use those things.
Yeah.
I use things of, I use times I've felt shamed. To this day, I use it as an empowering tool.
Yes.
I don't ever feel that shame was a good thing that was ever put on me, but I use it as a powerful tool for parenting, to make sure my girls are never shamed and are, well equipped to face it when they go out into the world, because it's inevitable that a woman will be shamed at one time in her life. And I use it as a, you have to look at it, you have to face it so that you can call it by name and,
Perspective is so important.
So
With everything. Just the fact that you can go through something and be dark with something and then say, okay, I'm going to take the perspective of this that will be supportive long term. Like, the only way to find good in that experience was, okay, I can prevent this for them, and I can use it to fuel me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. Perspective. It's important.
I'm a big believer in being your own hero.
When people talk about it, it's often super fluffy. Whereas yours comes from a dark place. It comes from hurt. It comes from hurt.
Pain, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel
our prior generation, our grandparents, I should say, their perspective was like, well, yeah, my uncles and aunts, and in some cases my mom and dad, died in the war. So, like, not having food for a couple days is not that big of a deal. I went 3 months. Mm-hmm. That's real dark perspective. Mm-hmm. And, we're getting a touch of that now. And obviously it's nowhere near what our grandparents went through.
No.
My grandfather came to Canada when he was 18 by himself, and started from scratch because it was the last year of the war and he needed to get out of the Netherlands. Like, that's unbelievable for me now, because I'm like, oh my God, what do you mean I can't go to the coffee shop downstairs?
I know. Like,
what
that was a big
about?
deal. And then it's pretty interesting. In my, so my grandparents' parents went through the Depression. Mm-hmm. So then that's how my grandparents were raised, with those save every dime. They were reusing, recycling, farming, small living. They were doing all that before it was hip or cool or any of the things. So that's how my father then taught us.
That's right.
And it was about, combing through that, because he had a lot of, money fears and guilt. And when my father passed away, in one of his drawers were like 3 brand new pairs of jeans that we had got him over the different Christmases.
He was saving them
over decades.
Whoa.
He never would have taken the tags off until something fell apart with the jeans he had.
Right.
So that, that's how we were raised.
Yeah.
And that was from
it all stemmed from that.
All from the effects of the 2 generations before.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's absolutely, it makes absolute sense, and it brings us to like what is going to happen moving forward from this. And part of the discussion out there is that there's potential that we could see that same thing happen. We've got people all across North America who can't pay their rent, their mortgage. People obviously are doing everything they can to conserve their resources. And the wave of that is going to look like what? I don't know. We're seeing lots and lots of businesses close here. And we have it the easiest. Yeah. By far. British Columbia has is record for safety in the world right now. Vancouver.
Health-wise, we have it the best, for sure.
Health-wise, yeah.
But economy-wise, I think that for the next 10 years, we're going to be seeing ramifications of this.
Yeah, it's hard to put a year on it, but that's probably going to happen.
I mean, there's just so many businesses that I can think of that cannot. There's no way for them to change what they have going on to now fit this mold.
No, there's no way.
And I'm so interested as to how that's going to take place.
Me too, especially where the expenses come from, recurring expenses, like for example their lease
Here, well, I mean, that's the biggest issue.
or even if they own the property tax. I mean, it's
but most people here have leases.
Most businesses have leases. Absolutely.
And it is just gone crazy here. You know, when the maternity store down a couple blocks from us, they left, went bankrupt, whatever happened there. The financial people put a thing on their door that they had missed rent for 3 months, and what they owed for rent for 3 months was $90,000.
Oh my goodness, are you serious?
And it's like,
holy
how
smokes,
were they even near selling anything in storefront to cover that?
There's no way.
There's just no way. Like,
There's
I mean, I went in
they
there
were doing that kind of revenue
once and bought a couple like $25 nursing bras. There's just, and then no one else was in there.
Unbelievable. And we're spending money on that street every single day.
Every single day.
And we went in there once. And we have 2 children. That's amazing.
So,
holy,
I mean,
$90,000.
Yeah.
Wow. It's the same thing with this little personal training studio that's across from our clinic. It was like 4 or 5 months, and it's a small, super small studio. And it said they owed $80,000. They hadn't paid. This was before COVID.
Yeah, this was
for other reasons. But still, the rent is unbelievable.
The rent was already a problem, is what I'm trying to say.
It was a problem for businesses. Like, it was just a shock that some business could even do it.
Well, we all the time will go by places and be like, so how many of those $3 items do you have to sell to pay this $30,000 a month?
And now with this opening, like, we're largely open here as of 4 days ago. And it's a new normal for most businesses in most places. And the new normal does not seem sustainable. Like, how are you going to employ these people and only sell this and that and this and that in this way? Like, most restaurants here, for example, if they're not packed.
Table.
Yeah. It's every second table now. But if they weren't packed, they didn't make it.
No, definitely. It's a hard industry anyway. You know, I have to say, I find it, I will say within this, like, everybody obviously is facing the same situation, but everybody within their little ecosystem, this has affected everybody so drastically differently, and the concern is so drastically different for everybody. It's been very interesting to see, and for myself, it's been very jarring the last couple days. Like, just on my Instagram, whatever, like, people will pop up, you know, taking selfies with a group of like 5 people at a table, like cheersing wine glasses, and it feels like it's a different lifetime to me. Like, I can't even believe that's happening right now.
Right.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's unbelievable. And speaking from my contacts, we have people who are like, this has been my experience. Everyone is fine. Everyone in the other regions of the province are absolutely fine. And they're just the same thing. They're out now. They're doing the things. And they're just like, well, is this actually serious? Because a lot of people are looking for, like, what's your position on this? And I know 2 people who have had this, who have had COVID-19. And one is a healthy person in their 40s who for 3 weeks was up at night, unable to breathe, having to leave bed and go to the living room just to relax and try and catch their breath. And the other has been sick for 60 days with the flu, but they're breathing fine. But they're so incredibly exhausted. This is not a 2-day flu for some people. And this person is in their early 40s, a runner. Can you imagine?
No.
Oh, it's the same as the flu. No, it's not. It's the same as the flu for some people.
But see, some people are experiencing it and saying it was no big deal.
Yeah.
And, you know, also people are looking at just the data that really old people are the ones that are passing away, and they feel relieved in that. And it doesn't mean that it's should be taken lightly.
And some young people with lots of exposure. I think there are 2 scenarios that people just make sure they don't want to get involved in. They have tons and tons of exposure, like young doctors have passed away from this. And the second is some people genetically are super predisposed to having the worst impact from this. And it has happened. It has happened. And then, not to go down the most scary stories, but there has been, maybe it's a different strain than what our region has experienced, but in some areas in the world, different patient populations have been impacted. Like, for example, in Canada, there's a lot more women than anywhere else. And we don't have that many cases, thankfully. The cases that have been tested, of the cases that have been tested, the death rate is still a bit high because we've had a lot of issue in Ontario and Quebec. But there's a lot more women here. And I don't know if it's just like men don't get checked out or what, but compared to other places, more women here. And then in other areas, of course, there's like little pockets of kids that have been affected. And, you know, maybe it's just a different strain. I don't know. In some places, there's been kidney disease. Like, weird stuff has happened in other places. And so the information, that's the scariest part, I guess, is that the information is just not available. And so there's a calculated risk to be taken here. We know in our province, if you're not familiar with what's happening, especially in Vancouver, the recommendation has been to hang out with maximum 6 people, like different than who you had been with for the previous 8 weeks.
But still socially distanced.
Socially distanced.
And outside
as much as possible, and outside, and open your group by 6. And so I would say, oh, it's the same as the flu. Well, it probably wouldn't have been the same as the flu if, for example, the people, like the 50 people at the meat packing plant here who got it also went to the hockey game that night, then probably the hospital would have been flooded 2 weeks later. But because of the steps we took, those people were not at the hockey game. And therefore the hospitals are fine. And it could have been something that simple. And that's why every step was important.
For sure.
And then every step towards opening is as important.
But you and I had this discussion before that if the measures work, that's when all the conspiracy theories are going to unfold.
Yeah. It was
because
nothing, whatever.
You know, it was not as, it's just like the flu and whatever, and everyone downplay it, you know. And like we said at the very beginning, and I think we even said it on the podcast, I hope that we're wrong. I hope that it didn't become a huge thing. Like, I hope that it was, you know, everyone was overreacting, you know.
Totally, I know, but it's really difficult to not be a little bit more conservative when you know people who have been impacted. I mean, just look at the example of Joe Rogan. You know, they have these podcasts with the group of them, and they're going on about how it's not a big deal, and everything is too constricted. And then they have Elon Musk on, and he's like, I'm gonna move my company if they don't let me have people in. And I love Elon, but that podcast was a little bit too loosey goosey for me.
Yeah.
And then the next night, or the next episode I watched, it may have been 2 nights later, he has Michael Yo on, who had an awful form of this virus, and was like, the story is absolutely terrible. And since then, everyone's criticizing him, but I think it's totally respectful. Joe Rogan has changed his tune. He's been a little bit more like, wait a minute, this might actually be...
Respect it.
Yeah. I think we should respect this a little more, and kind of debunking some of the conspiracies. But... You
know, the thing is, and what I've been saying from the beginning, is we're not going to know the full picture until we're many years out from this.
Right.
So, you know, just do, you know, especially if you have people, like, I still believe protect the children. A lot of people don't.
Yeah.
You know, I think we still don't see the full picture as to what's going on there. Maybe the illness isn't that severe in them, but what are the later effects of this? And, you know, just, we don't have the data on, you know, these cases popping up with, like, inflammatory disease of some sort. Like, we don't know. We don't have strong numbers. We don't know if it's a couple people. We don't know if children, or if this is like a larger, like, I don't know prospectively.
Yeah.
And we're not going to know till we're further down the road with this.
Yeah. When I heard it was 20 kids in London, I thought, I know London's a big city, but 20 is way too many for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have kids.
Yeah. 20 is like so much more than 0.
But this is what I don't understand. One child in the States chokes on a Kinder Egg, and they ban Kinder Eggs.
Yeah. Right. That's a good
but
point.
Here, it's, you know what I mean? Like, this is the thing I'm kind of confused about. But I think it's because it's so... There's just not enough information yet. Yeah, right. And the people that haven't been directly impacted or don't have acute fears with this, I think that it's pretty easy to be relax.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I'm not telling anybody to be scared. That's not either.
It sort of seems like we are, but everyone's at home still, mostly anyway. Some people are more at home than we are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's important for people who are at home and somewhat, not necessarily forcibly, but somewhat required to be home. It's important to know, like, this is why it super sucks. If you have a backyard, you should be dancing in the street.
Yeah. You're so lucky.
Like, go outside, just go out there.
I think that if you know anybody that has any type of immune issues whatsoever.
Yeah, if there's any immunodeficiencies.
Play this ridiculously safe.
Yeah.
Just do it because, you know, worst case scenario, like, you just don't want to play with it.
No, you don't. You don't.
So I want everyone to really be serious about that. And also, if you have a general cold and or flu, stay home.
Stay home because you never know.
Like, it's not just that. Let everyone's immune systems stay healthy.
Yeah.
You know, let's not all, you know, like, let's just all be super responsible right now. That's all I really...
Yeah, let's get antibody tested too.
Yeah, let's
you know,
get that
we've
going.
been approved. United States has a series of tests that are approved. Hopefully we can get ours rolling soon here. We should probably shift to something more positive. So what do you think is going to happen from this? Where are we going next? What are some societal changes that you think are coming down the pipeline?
What do I think? What do I hope?
Okay, let's go through both. Because, you know, all we know from our real lifetime here is that after 9/11, the airports changed.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been significant for people.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably going to be that on steroids.
Yes.
And it's going to probably impact all walks of life, all areas of society in some way or another. And people are starting to speculate on how that's going to, what it's going to look like. And, you know, from our perspective, we're thinking about health and wellness and where people's mindsets are going to be now moving forward. We think that people are going to be super focused on keeping their immune systems healthy, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's a super positive change.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, all the external things were stripped away. So I think at first it was kind of like, what do I do with myself? What do I do with myself? Then I think it was almost like a mourning period of like, what is this? Who am I? What do I even like in life? What are my interests? What am I going to do here? Then I think people started to be like, oh, wait, like if I have to be just with myself and in my atmosphere, I need to make this the best possible. So I think people started realizing, like, I want to feel good. And what does actually feeling good look like? Well, it isn't like being told by external people what to buy. It's actually like looking around my home and wanting it to look clean,
Yes.
healthy, beautiful. It makes me feel inspired. People started doing like art.
Right.
You know, people started getting back into things they were into before that they kind of slid off because they were going to dinner or like, you know, over socializing, over shopping, just consuming. Watching people on social media live these fabulous lives. I think that it really it's been really positive in that way. I know a lot of people that, you know, have been really enjoying their families and really enjoying their life.
I know a lot of people who have kicked up their exercise game.
Yes.
A lot of people
Eating
who have
healthy,
been
cooking
eating
at home.
extremely healthy.
I've been talking to so many people that have said, like, you know, ordering out has just completely fallen off. And they've been eating so much healthier, saving money, enjoying the beauty of nutritious food. I mean, that just makes me so excited.
Yeah. That's awesome.
You know,
I had a person come in after the 8 weeks, and we were going to do a weigh-in, and they were like, this is going to be awful. Like, I've been eating at home, and I'm just not a good cook, and I hate cooking, and I can tell this is going to be absolutely terrible compared to what it was. Anyways, they were down 8 pounds.
yeah, it's amazing.
I was like, wait a minute, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I guess, well, I haven't been going out for lunch and all that stuff. Yeah, this is a major impact. That's a really positive change.
It is positive. I think that's really positive. Like, one of my friends made a really good joke. I was dyeing things with avocado pits, and I texted her a
That's
picture.
where we are.
I texted her a picture, and I'm like, look how cool this is. I dyed that. She's like, I see you're to the phase of quarantine where you're dyeing your clothing with food scraps. And it just made me burst out laughing. I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize what this was. It's like, you would never do this before.
No.
what world are you living in?
Avocado
That
pit.
this even seems normal that you're doing this. And it's
Oh
like,
my God.
yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Really comical.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely for us like highlighted, like put our feet to the fire. A lot of things we've been dancing around for a long time, like about, you know, where we want to live, what we want exactly our day-to-day life to be, you know, who we want in it, how we want it to feel. So I found that really, really healthy.
Yeah, there is an evaluation.
You
There
know,
is an evaluation.
I have hope, and I have, I think this might be really great for, you know, the environmental causes.
Oh my gosh, hopefully.
I
People
do.
are starting to realize, I mean, just after having 4 days of traffic again, it's more polluted out there. It's,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
quite obvious.
The air was so clean when everyone was home.
Unreal.
So, I mean, you know, I have hope for the generation under us because I feel like they have real passion and insight. You know, just like I always use Instagram as like kind of a touchstone because you can kind of just like on the explore feature, just see what's going on. And, you know, I just feel like anybody that moving forward is like showing off grotesque amounts of wealth or is, you know, traveling incessantly, I just feel like people think it's gross.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's inspiring at this point. I feel like it's like, so your selfish endeavors are ruining the planet while you're the exact same people that are usually preaching to us to start using like beeswax, food wrap, that we need to save the planet.
That's a good point.
That's
That's a really good point.
Like that's really standing out like a sore thumb to me right now.
Yeah.
It's like, and I just feel like everybody else
They're
has got to
preaching.
feel this way.
Yeah.
Because it's like, so, you know, like everybody I know, most people we know live stacked on top of each other, basically.
Yeah.
None of us, you barely use our vehicles.
No.
All of us walk everywhere. Majority of my friends bike.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody I know even wouldn't identify as a vegetarian or vegan are very plant-based. All these people.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are people that thrift shop. Everybody that I'm in my community with, we all give each other everything. We hand things off. We are constantly, you know, helping each other out that way. And then these celebrities with like, or whoever, with these giant houses, with the in-ground pools, with the multiple vehicles that are
Yeah, don't
flying
tell me.
everywhere to get the Instagram shots, to, you know, sell us the hotel in the wherever, whatever. You're telling me to use the beeswax saran wrap is going to be the thing. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't believe anybody's going to take that anymore.
For sure.
When everybody I know are the people doing the work.
Absolutely.
They're the ones who are reducing the footprint.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know,
You make a good point about the generation below us.
I think they've got
That
more.
they see this a little more,
I
a little
think that they-
clearer than we do.
I do. I think that they have more of a, because I
They're
think
smart.
we came up in it.
Well, they grew up with Google, so these kids, like we're talking like people who are between 20 and 30, they know a lot about everything.
Mm-hmm.
They have had access to the world's information
Mm-hmm.
since they were 5. And we didn't really come on, like 2008, for example, is when social media really started.
Well, with us females, it was like coming up for us was like Paris Hilton,
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian, and it was all about what they drove, what they wore, where they were going. It was all
Yeah.
the whatever. Where I feel like their idea of celebrity is a bit different.
It is.
Like
They
when I look at who they're into, they do, and they're actually creative people, and they're really involved in social media, and they'll
It's
go
so
on,
funny.
you know, Instagram stories with no makeup on.
I don't get it.
We constantly are like, we don't understand what's going
Billie
on here.
Eilish, Jaden
Yeah,
Smith.
but did you?
like,
I
what?
listened to her the other day.
Okay. Genius?
Amazing,
Genius. I bet.
like
Jaden Smith, so cool.
the coolest.
Dope.
Like, just, and I'm just like, but like looking through it, I'm like, I don't get it.
No,
This isn't
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Like, and then it's like,
And they talk, and you're
actually
like, wait a minute. Yeah, these are smart kids.
These are intelligent people. They're just intelligent humans, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I have hope for what's going on under there.
Oh, definitely. And now they had to go through this. It's like, holy smokes.
Yeah, and I feel bad for them because I mean, you know, even younger. Like we know people that are in their last year of our, you know, relatives that are
Last
in
year
their
of high school,
their last
grade
year of high
12s,
school,
grade
and I
11s.
mean, you know, prospectively, we're like adults. Like, it's like, oh God, you won't even remember. Like, it's not a big deal, whatever.
No, amazing. You've been in summer since March.
Yeah, you're going to do great. But, you know, it's everything. Your little life when you're there, and it's all a big deal.
It really is.
You hang on to all that, and, you know.
Especially for, like, personalities like mine. Like, my last 6 months of high school, for my group of people, that was like the, you know,
David's a golden child.
Oh yeah, I was
He's the golden child.
That was like the prime time for everybody.
I was making a joke the other day. It's like when we fly back in, and you're in the airport. It's like David Tizer, and I'm just like the bag lady that's like holding the bags. It's like, oh, there's the bad girl. She's back.
She's back. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, those kids, they missed it. Like, you know.
Well, I feel bad for them because it's everything. And I mean, prospectively, they'll be fine, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, even heading into school next year, a lot of universities are, you know, talking about doing everything online. So kids are deferring. So it's going to change. It's going to alter things for next year.
It really will. It really will.
You know, I really hope, you know, for my girls and for my nieces that are a bit younger, and even my nephews, that this social media thing burns down a bit.
Me too.
You know, I know even as me, like as a woman, it affects me.
Mm-hmm.
And that I feel bad, like, why am I not capable of making my life more perfect? You know, it's like that whole, like, I just think of that meme where, like, someone's doing physics on the wall and they're just, like, trying to figure out the numbers. And it's like, I know these people, like, quote, make the same kind of money we do. Why are they living, like, they're billionaires? And I'm, like, living in my condo, paying my bills. Like, what's going on? Like, and that's hard on your head.
Big time.
You know, and these idyllic, beautiful moments that are just perfectly captured constantly, like, in women's faces with all the things, whatever. I think that it's, like, just, you know, all these wellness people or positive. They're not wellness. I'll take that back. It's usually they're positive. It's girl power. It's positive. It's just another way to backdoor manipulate women into buying shit. And I'm so over it. And I just hope everyone starts to see through it with this. I really do.
I think so too.
You know, there's a difference between, like, this honestly helps me in my life. This product has actually changed me. But, like, it's not that anymore.
No.
You know, it just isn't.
No, it's not.
It's turned into a whole other monster.
I've read stories. Oh, sorry to interrupt you. But I've read stories about some influencers who have a huge expense account, like have major expenses. And they're really suffering right now. Like, for example, I read this. I don't know how true it all is, but for example, someone like Dan Bilzerian. Do you know this guy?
I'm not going there with Dan.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Navy SEAL turned poker player, made lots of money,
I'm
and
just
then
gonna
he's
take
an
my sweater
influencer.
off.
And then he became an influencer online for brands and has like party accounts.
Women.
I don't follow him. I'm just read a story about him.
It's his whole image. I've looked into him.
Okay.
His whole image is literally like on a yacht in the Caribbean with like 20 women.
Well, apparently there are a lot of expenses involved that are recurring. So for example, like
Poor Dan.
the same thing is with the NBA.
Well, yeah.
They got a note last week that was suggesting be cautious with your spending because we really don't know.
That's like anybody. Like, I mean, when you're living above your means or if you're living up to that level of money, that's how people lose it. That's how when you listen to Mike Tyson, it's like, how did you lose your money? How would you ever lose that level of money? And it's like, when you actually listen to him, it's quite easy.
Yeah.
In that he was just living as large as he was, and then the well ran dry.
Stop coming in.
But I want to say something to the point of I just need to say it because I get aggravated with this.
Sure.
As a woman, I am, you know, I cheer on all other women and I want them to be successful. But when you kind of call out this fake positivity archetype, people, the new thing is like, I've seen like in the comments because people are calling people out and I just like, well, look, because they're like, how are you acting like this is all fine? Like people
it's not fine.
Are having a horrible time and you like saying with a fun cat, like we're laughing our way through this, like in your pool, like that's so detached from reality and so hurtful to so many people. How can you be this out of touch with reality? They straight go to your bullying.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, you just hate.
You're
bullying. You're just so negative. You just can't be happy for my success. And it's like, we have taken this positivity and like feminism and supporting other women to a place where you can't even speak truth anymore.
Yeah.
Like that really bothers me.
For sure.
I would be so sad if another woman felt they couldn't say something to me that they took issue with because they thought that I would like flip it on them and do this reverse, like, oh, you're just negative. Like, no, that's not what we're doing here. That's not why we want to be, have equal, like,
Absolutely.
I can't.
And huge respect for the people who have postponed.
Huge respect.
A lot of people had launches prepped for this. I don't know if it was Lady Gaga or...
Not only people that have postponed, but people that are just using different parts of their brain to just be compassionate human beings and understand, like, there are also lots of people that have really risen, because they are so authentic and they're being real and they're talking about how shitty this is.
Yeah.
And how, it sucks and like whatever. Not from like I had a real problem. I don't know. I probably already talked about this, but at the very beginning when I was really scared for our family and for my extended family and for, everything. Like I didn't know what was going to happen with our life. I was like flipping through the Explore feature and there was like this beautiful shot of this playroom. So I clicked on it and it was like a dream playroom. It was just like basically the best kid story you've ever seen in your life. Mm-hmm. And it was actually a shot that Kim Kardashian had shared on her Instagram. And she was like, what should I do to entertain my kids?
Oh my God.
It's like, okay, are you trolling? Are you trying to be relatable? Or are you just this detached from reality?
Yeah.
I felt like I wish I could answer back with a shot of my condo.
Yeah, right.
Like, like, what Definitely. Are you talking about? And not only that, shot of my condo, we're very privileged.
We have it great, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Like, I can't even with these people.
Unbelievable.
Like, it's unbelievable. And it's like, it just makes me wonder, so is it because her PR person isn't there?
Well, she probably got paid for some of the items that were in the photo because they get paid per post for...
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
I didn't even think of that. It's just, but like, how can you even have that thought that like,
there's no
so
thought.
Many people are in such dire circumstances that you're just like.
For so many people, it's all about what is the cash value of this, and the cash value on, for example, most of our time on social is spent on Instagram. The cash value of these is huge.
But this brings me to the point that we kind of had a little debate about earlier today. When is enough enough?
Oh, yeah.
Like, sit this one out, Kim.
Yeah.
You good. Your husband, 2 weeks prior, was on the cover of Forbes declaring he's a billionaire.
I know.
And she's worth, I would say, almost close to that herself.
Definitely.
So, sit it out.
Yeah, I know.
Just sit down.
This is different than
Enjoy
the discussion
your family.
that we had. It's different.
Enjoy your family. Take a minute, dip in the pool, act like you're on holiday, but just don't caption it. Mm-hmm. I just can't comprehend that. Like, I can't comprehend getting to that level of success and being like, I need to keep going.
Yeah.
I need to be in someone's news feed today. I need to be in Brenda's, in Minneapolis's when she's, sitting there with 4 kids.
Why Minneapolis?
That's just where Brenda lives.
Oh my God,
she's
Brenda.
ripping her hair out. She's still in her pajamas. She's got like baby pee on her. She's like just gonna take a minute just for herself in the bathroom. She's locked herself in there.
Yeah.
Kids pound on the door. She's scrolling through, and that's what Brenda's gotta look at. Kim can no, don't do that to Brenda. Sit down, take a breather.
Yeah, right.
I can't take it.
Unbelievable.
But maybe maybe people are into it. I don't know. It's just where I'm at.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's turning. Like what you're saying is, I think you're right that people are turning and people are not that into this anymore. Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
Because I, as a human, for whatever reason, desire people to be authentically happy. Mm-hmm. Like, there's nothing that gives me more pleasure than when I'm around someone and they're in the zone.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. It makes me, like, thrilled to witness another human be in the authentic zone. And I'm not talking about necessarily external success. It always comes. Mm-hmm. But I'm talking about when I see, I remember moments clearly. Like, when I just remember one of my friends, they were so proud, like, as a couple, like, that they had bought this condo, very expensive condo. And they're just, like, hardworking, nose to the ground people. And, like, the level of joy and accomplishment and how proud I felt for them. I love that. I have another girlfriend that's just, like, hitting her stride, like, coming out of, like, the mom zone. She's, like, working out all the time. She's getting into, like, her interests again. She's, like, being creative and, like, she's inspiring. And, She's glowing.
Mm-hmm.
It gives me joy to witness that.
Yes, I totally
And
resonate
that
with
is
that.
a person I think should be sharing.
Me too. Me too. And that's part of the reason why I am so attracted and have always been to you, is that your zone is this truth zone. And this upfront honesty, like you can tell that this is the most real person on earth when you're in your presence. There's nothing not real about it. And I love that. I can tell it is the zone for you.
I appreciate that.
Good. And that's why I think that podcast thing, for example, is where you need to be.
Thank you. I'll take that compliment.
Okay, great. Good. I'm glad you take it. So on that note, do you think people are going to get back to are they going to get in their zone and get into their human roots and consider growing their own food, moving out of cities?
I don't know so much about moving out of cities. I was having this conversation with a girlfriend the other day. And out of like 6 people we know, it's split down the middle.
You're right. Which is a lot more than 0.
It's a lot more than 0, but a lot of people we know in this city only need one last thing to push them out.
Yeah.
This city is a hard city to live in. Like, it takes a lot of money to live like just a normal life here. So you have to want to be here. Yeah. And for a lot of people, if you can't do any of the things, or if the last straw has been like someone in the family loses a job, it's just the last straw. You're not going to keep suffering to live here.
Right.
That being said, the other half are all thrilled. They, a lot of people are liking the changes, like being, the social pressure has been off a lot. So they don't feel like they have to like that keeping up. If you're going to miss out, if someone's going to think you're a bad friend, whatever. They've liked just being insulated with their little, with their family. It's cozy, it's fun, not spending all that extra money. A lot of our friends have jobs where they're making the same money, so they've actually saved money because they're not going out, they're not doing things. So that's an interesting perspective to this.
Really
I can't
is.
even comprehend that.
Yeah.
And that's their experience.
Yeah.
So, they're thinking, yeah, we're going to stay. Maybe we could even buy a bigger place because inevitably the housing market is going to come down.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But do I think generally a lot of people are going to leave? Yeah. I've always found the city to be a transitional city anyway.
It really is. Yeah, a lot of professionals come here
on contracts. Like, I have 2 people that I absolutely adored and was heartbroken just in the last couple of years that have left.
Yeah. A lot of people want to try it out too.
Yeah.
Just to see. And then realize quickly, oh shoot, this is like wicked expensive compared to everywhere else. Mm-hmm. And also awesome. But
it's awesome, but
you're going to work all the time and you're probably going to do great because people support businesses and there's a great economy here. And you're probably going to do hopefully well. Now, when you get home at night, you might have to wait for 1 hour in line to get a pack of diapers.
It's different, yeah.
That's not going to cut it. Like, you're going to work this hard and then you can't just grab something in 30 seconds. Like it was before, we have all the resources we could ever need within 2 blocks of us. And, so it usually everything took about 45 seconds, and now it could take up to an hour.
I'm not even
Groceries took
thinking
2
that.
hours.
I'm not even thinking that angle. I'm thinking moving forward, a lot of these jobs that are going back to the office are still going to only be, you go back to the office, say 2 days a week, but you still have to work 5 days a week, and there's no childcare.
No.
Or you're scared to put your child into certain childcare. So and a lot of people haven't grown up in Vancouver.
Yeah.
In our bubbles. So I think a lot of people are going to have to live near relatives. To this new life.
That too as
How
well.
else are you going to do this?
Yes.
These moms that have been working with children at home that are actually like on Zoom calls, like my type of work can be interrupted. I've been doing a horrible job. I'm spelling mistakes, making mistakes, saying things improperly. It's been a mess. But think about these people, that are accountable to another human. Like, it's awful. I don't know how they're doing it.
Definitely. It's been a lot of pressure.
It's amazing to me.
Yeah, it really is amazing.
Like, it's a miracle.
I know.
I know a woman that's doing that, pregnant.
Whoa.
with the toddler,
Unbelievable.
doing the full-time work, and not in a company that this is no excuse.
Yeah, right.
We move forward.
I heard from someone the other day, and they were like, yeah, I'm actually working harder.
Yeah.
There's more expected of me.
Yeah.
And it's work all day now. It's 24/7. It's not just the 8 hours.
Because we know you're home.
You're
Where
home.
else are you going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's take a
What
meeting
else
at
are you
7 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
It's crazy.
A lot of places, they don't need offices. And so now this
This is
actually
what I'm
works
saying.
really well.
Things are really going to shift. Like, I'm so interested as to where this is going to go with those businesses. I mean, I wish we'd move it to a society that we only demanded people to work 4 days a week. I really wish that we would move
me
into
too.
that
That'd be nice.
in a positive way.
That'd be so nice.
And I wish that we would take from this, you know, the importance of focusing on our family and our loved ones and how precious it all is and how it all takes time. Like, I'd say one of our biggest problems have been as a couple before we had children and since having, like, as people, is that we're both A-types and extremely driven, and also both take a lot of, like, individual time in our own right to feel, like, fulfilled and driven in that to be, you know, our whole selves. We've been horrible and imbalanced at making time for, like, us or like not us working or not us discussing
This is
a project.
not us time.
Or
Although we'd started this out of us time. Like, oh, geez, well, these conversations are so legit. Let's
Right.
record them.
and it's wonderful, but
We would
you know,
be doing this without the podcast, by the way. Yeah,
This is
if
what we do.
If we weren't podcasting right now,
we were having
we would be having the
a
same
very
conversation.
heated podcast today in the truck.
Yes, we were.
But you know, yeah, we love to spar, but like we're not. I can count on my hand the amount of movies we've ever watched together. We've
We're
been
not that
together
couple.
what 12 or 13 or 14 years. I don't know,
I
like
don't know. It's like
5.6
all the
million
years.
years. I think it's been, and we've been to the theater twice.
Oh my god.
Twice.
Part of that is
And
just
one
that
of it
you
was
don't.
I was pregnant.
Part of that is just that you don't like the theater.
I hate the theater. I think it's bull.
That's right.
I think
I'd go.
so. If anyone's out there that would like to take David to the theater,
True will.
oh, she loves the theater.
I'm just kidding.
Hopefully, Ever will be like, this is so.
It's just not our thing. Like it's
Okay, but
really
I'm
not.
I'm trying to say, we actually watched a movie together.
Yeah, we did.
last
Okay,
week
good point.
is
Which
what,
was
like-
hilarious, by the way. If you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it.
It like
She won't let me say it.
no, because I don't know if it actually was hilarious.
I
or
tell
just, like,
people sometimes the stuff that we are into, and she's
my
like,
God,
"What are you doing?"
I asked him two things. I said, David, like 5 years ago, I said, please don't tell people where we live,
Yeah.
and please don't tell people what we watch or
Shoot.
listen to. And he
Shoot.
tells
I can't help
everyone
it.
everything. He told like an 80-year-old sweet conservative man about Spartacus. That we watched Spartacus.
If you have
and
seen
this
Spartacus,
poor little man went and put it up
oh
and
my
then came
God,
back and
watch the
said,
whole series.
came back and said, what in the hell did you get me to watch? And then he's at home envisioning him and I as a couple
Oh my
watching,
God.
and I'm just like, just don't.
If you have seen Spartacus, you know what she is talking about.
And if you haven't, just don't.
No, you have to watch it.
Oh my God. Oh,
Not around your kids.
I like it when like I'm in a group of women and they're like, have you seen whatever? Have you seen whatever? I'm like, have you ever seen The Devil's Whore? And they're like, what? And I'm like, it's a period piece that was filmed and whatever. And everyone's just looking at me like, who are you?
Yes.
It's like, it's all I'm interested in.
Oh my gosh.
Or
it's
Rome.
So funny.
Remember when I got into Rome?
Yeah,
I've been
you watched that by yourself.
Well, yeah, because you were in exams.
Okay.
I was just dating myself.
Anywho. So I've got two pieces pulled up here now that we have an office, now that we have a legit setup. I have two pieces pulled up for us to discuss. One is from Politico, and the first line here is that, well, these both of these pieces are like, what's going to happen next in society? Where are we going? Politico, the first piece is, the personal becomes dangerous. No shaking hands, no hugging.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be honest with you. I'm jazzed about the no shaking hands.
Okay.
And I'm fine.
It's a bit awkward, though.
I'm fine with the no hugging. It's not awkward. You just gotta be firm about conversation and making eye contact. I got in a real place with handshaking where like
You're just not a good handshaker, though. You have so many good qualities. That's not one of them.
Right, but then I started to try to be really aggressive because I didn't want men to think
too much. It's awkward.
And then it was just weird. I took it to a really uncomfortable place.
She's like a ridiculously aggressive handshaker.
Well, one time, this guy that I went on a date with said that I had little man syndrome.
Oh my gosh.
And I kind of don't disagree with him in one way because, like, this is a good example. Like, if a man, like a big man, comes in to shake my hand,
he'll regret it. It's gonna hurt for days. That's gonna hurt.
He's not gonna see it coming.
No, he won't.
So, you know.
Classic little man syndrome.
Classic.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's gonna be some people who make it ridiculously awkward, and they're going to be trying to go back to the way it was.
You can't.
And
yes.
you can't. And then there's going to be other people who are completely offended if you're within 2 meters.
Already, I had a conversation with someone that I know the other day, and they were very upset that they felt that people weren't getting out of the way on sidewalks anymore.
Totally.
Since it changes.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of shocked me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I gotta be honest, I space as much as I can. I 100% pull over and give all the room to any senior citizen. Like, I'm like very like, I don't like, if someone is vulnerable or scared and I can see that they're uncomfortable, I would never like push my little germy kids around them. But I haven't been great at it. So to hear her say that made me cognizant to remember, like, oh, like lots of people are still very scared in that way. Like,
yeah, and offended if people of the same age and
I mean, I can
health status, I guess, are not going to be.
I can see like the archetype of like the 65-year-old white man still wanting to shake hands. I can
you'll
see
it. Oh, you'll see it.
But you're gonna have to just come up with some things.
Well, I'm okay. I'm pretty good.
What do you do?
Well, you know, I have little ways of making it light and comfortable.
Do you do the arm thing?
Yeah, I do the arm thing for sure. I give the elbow.
Have you done the arm thing?
Have I done it?
Yeah.
Yeah, once. I did it once. Yeah, in a very important meeting.
You were like, I will touch elbows with you.
Yes, and a very important person did it in my direction.
So you had to come at
and
him.
Therefore, I came with the elbow bump.
Did you smash? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's gonna be more of that, and so that's been my approach really. You know, we're in a setting where we have to make every effort to make the person comfortable. So we have masks and gloves available, and we have posted rules and settings about how we're going to be keeping people safe. And so it's pretty legit when you step into our clinic.
Yeah, I'm not talking there. It's a very sanitary.
Well, those are the only people that I see.
I'm talking
if I'm not in this little closet, I'm at the office. Yeah, the personal becomes dangerous. Definitely. Yeah, it's going to be weird. A new kind of patriotism. I don't think there's going to be much travel going on. I really don't.
It's funny because I didn't think there would be a lot of travel. And then I've been in 2 conversations this week of people telling me that they're traveling across country for summer vacations.
Wow.
And I find that shocking.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that too.
Because I'm hesitant. Like, I want to go to the island for camping. And A, I don't think they want us there.
No.
And I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. And B, I don't even know if it's like a reality of what's going to happen this summer. So, but I was very surprised. Like, 2 people I know booked flights going across country for summer vacations.
Wow. Well, you know, I don't know where we stand yet, but it's kind of promising. I don't know. Travel, I think it's definitely done for this year in general. I think ferries, flights, I think that there's going to be, first of all, it's going to really suck. And a lot of the things are going to not make sense to people who know about the illness. For example, like taking temperature doesn't matter.
And air circulation.
It's foolishness.
In planes, like I just...
Yeah. It's, you know, it's all the things. And so I think travel is done. The borders are going to be closed probably for the rest of the year.
Do you think?
I think so.
I just feel like the only reason that we're even really opening up right now is because of the economy.
Yeah.
And I feel like
That's
everybody has to stay aware of that. Well, and it's not that's it, just for money. The reality is, if people don't have money and people don't make money, we're going to face death in a whole nother way.
Exactly.
Like, it is serious.
No,
people have to make money. But I
is.
don't understand I'm just confused when I see, like, the celebratory having drinks at restaurants when, like, essential services, like, what I believe is, like, essential services are just, like, opening up. I find it very confusing and, like, just feels like two different worlds.
It really is. It really is.
That being said, I had an adult social distanced, like, we all brought a glass of wine and we each put a blanket and sat, like, 6 feet in a circle, 4 of us.
A bunch of geeks.
Yeah, it was lovely.
So nice.
I still think
Didn't
about it.
have to get close to people. Didn't have to touch anybody.
I loved it.
That's yours, though.
It's my zone. Conversation. I took it to, like, all the deep places.
There you
Nobody
go.
wanted to. They can't go anywhere.
No.
They got nothing else to do.
Stay in that
They can only be in this bubble.
Yeah,
So, like, oh god, I gotta sit here.
And how do you get out of that conversation,
They
too?
can't.
It's like you can't, like, come in for a handshake and say goodbye or
No,
whatever.
they can't be like, oh, I got somewhere else to go.
No, you don't.
I know you don't.
Everywhere's
And I know
closed.
all your husbands are home with the kids.
Yes.
There's no
That's
babysitters
amazing.
to relieve.
That's
It's
amazing.
great.
When it comes to patriotism, I think that we're going to lose a little bit of the globalist stance that we had, where, it was generally accepted that, for example, North America, I can't speak for the rest of the world, but North America was what some sides would say turning into a globalist region, where, in some cases people were concerned that people in our region were concerned more with other regions than themselves, and therefore some of them may have been suffering, and people called that globalization, the globalists, and that is part of that is being lost because we all have to focus in on our little pack for survival, and some of that is going to continue. Like, there's a lot of fear right now.
The problem is that turns into racism very quickly.
It can turn super dark when, for example, you see that funds are being directed somewhere and you're suffering.
Well, I mean, right away when I heard that, there's still a bunch of Canadian military, I don't even know what they're called, missions?
Yeah.
That are going on to other countries this summer.
Yes.
I find
We are
that
continuing.
actually insane.
Yeah.
They should be here helping.
Yeah. And I understand where you're coming from.
Actually, way before this, they should be up north helping.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I know.
it makes me just, like, it blows my brain into smithereens to think about. But
Yeah, I know.
I'm not the head of the military, so...
Yeah, you're not?
No.
No, but your opinion is super important, and it's really important to sort of, like, think about this in a broader context, and I think it really does come down to the details. Like, some of those missions, for example, are a big time waste, and some of them are absolutely essential. And the ones that could be a big time waste, maybe they could be redeployed, as a lot of military personnel in our country have actually been redeployed. I don't know how well it has panned out, but fortunately we've had extra bodies that we could use. Some of the missions that I know about, I don't know, this is just not the right time. But, I really do think it's important that we do everything we can to support regions of the world that have it a lot worse than what we have.
Totally, but this isn't what these things were.
No, some of
These were
things
not, like, going to help other regions.
No.
With this.
We do, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But we do participate heavily in NATO and
Oh, yeah, I'm not suggesting that. I can't comprehend it.
I know. It's weird. And also the fund distribution. So when probably this political article, I haven't read it, but I assume what they're going to speak about is the defunding of the World Health Organization.
Yeah.
And what that does, although a lot of people support that choice, I think that they just don't understand the detriment that is. America is the number one funder.
I'm just reading the last sentence, and it's saying maybe the demilitarization
of American patriotism and love of community will be one of the benefits to come out of this whole awful mess. Demilitarization, yeah. But I think the real concern here is that we, like all of the places that support these massive global organizations, start to restrict their funds, and that becomes a major issue for so many vulnerable people. So, you know, who knows? It's too early to tell. A return to faith in serious experts. I don't know if it's going to happen.
I had faith until lately, when
everyone's an expert now, though, Amy. Come on.
But it's not just that. So many people that I know are believing that a lot of the, like, as soon as you rise as an expert and become backed by a government, people start digging through all your stuff and they look for you're somehow, it's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, big time.
Like, no longer
any
can anybody,
any ties to anything, conspiracy, boom, done.
It's not even, you don't even have to have ties anymore. No longer can anybody be an authentic, good, hardworking, intelligent person in their field if you rise. If you rise at all, it's a conspiracy.
That's right. That's right.
Which is so interesting.
It really is. And, okay, so I think there may be one exception to this, which is actually a fascinating one. One exception may be the person who's in charge here. It wasn't until I knew her story.
Well, but that's because it's Canadian.
Yeah, that's good. It's Canadian.
Okay, so the person... I find Canadians, you know, I'm very proud to be Canadian.
Me too.
I really am. I find Canadians deeply rational and level people.
Yeah.
Generally.
Generally,
really
absolutely they are, yeah.
And I think that people are kind. I think that the majority of Canadians have their focus on the right thing. I think they're intelligent. I'm always very proud to be Canadian. And the only reason that she is, I mean, that they don't believe conspiracies about her or aren't making them up yet. I mean, they're little groups, these protesting groups here, is because she's Canadian.
Yeah, probably.
She was in the States, I'm sure.
Dr. Lemon, our national leader, has taken a big hit.
Oh, really?
Big hit. Oh, yeah. She's being criticized heavily. So all of the national leaders, I don't know if all of them, but the ones of the countries that I follow, they have a seat at the World Health Organization. And so because the World Health Organization has such a bad name right now because of all the things that happened back in January and February, people who have ties, of course, they're like, okay, well, they work for the World Health Organization.
All the things? You mean where they lied for 4 days?
Did they lie for 4 days, or did they not have the information for 4 days from China? And anyways, that's a bigger discussion. Yeah, the information is still super vague. Who knows? But the information that was handed down was not correct. And so the people who were in charge of the countries...
from human to human.
Right. And so the people who were in charge of the countries were the ones who then passed that information, so they look awful. And they say, well, you're part of the World Health Organization.
No, but how would they know?
Okay, but I'm saying that's what the consensus... Not the consensus, but that's what people are saying. Our person in charge in British Columbia here, amazing. She ended up being she was like the assistant during SARS in Toronto and saved millions of lives, knows exactly what to do. We have the lowest rates and the lowest, I think maybe even one of the lowest fatality rates. Fortunately, we're doing incredible. And is that because of what she did or because of other factors like about the health of the city?
I am very proud of the way she... the criticism I would give is sometimes she was a bit wishy-washy, which I think for some people it would have made me more comfortable if she was more firm. But I did, I'm very proud of the way that she was very much, and she was affirmative.
Yeah.
And she wasn't into punishment or, of people. She was just very, very firm about being kind to one another. This is extremely difficult. The majority are doing the right thing. I just thought that was
yeah, right.
So deeply rational. I was really so proud. You are such a good leader. It's exactly what you want of the adult in the room. That's what I always say. I always use the term that I always don't want to be the adult or the gentleman. I use the gentleman.
Yeah.
And she just was that.
She really was.
I was so proud.
And fortunately, it's working.
It's definitely working.
If it wasn't working, if we went the total other way, then maybe all the space that she carved out would have saved us. Like the real criticism here is that we have tons and tons of space and we have 3,000 hospital beds and they're empty. And so some of the
that we always said from the beginning,
we were
if it
super
works,
conservative.
if it works, that's the criticism. Who cares?
Exactly. If the rules she put in place didn't work, then we would have had a ton of beds.
That's right.
It would have been okay.
Who cares? Like, let that be the criticism. Let that be the conspiracy.
Yeah,
that it wasn't a big deal.
To take that.
Yeah.
And to be in charge and be like, I'm going to make this decision.
Yeah.
And it's either going to go this way or that, but if it goes that way, we're going to be okay.
I don't know if I told you, but it gave me such a level of joy that an Instagram account started following me that was Bonnie Henry's statement necklaces. And
yes.
it is
awesome.
an account just about her statement necklaces.
I love it.
And what made me the most joy is that someone was just home with no job.
Yeah.
And was like, what am I going to do?
I have 8 weeks. Who knows how long I have? It could be years.
It was hilarious. Like, it was the funniest thing.
Yes.
Anyway, it was amazing.
Definitely.
Love it.
Oh my gosh, I love that statement. And her shoes. Someone made her shoes a line or something.
It's amazing.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't. I literally don't look at the news.
Religious
I'm on
worship.
a need-to-know basis.
Religious worship will look different. Yeah, we're not going to have large crowds.
Well, they are. They're starting this weekend in the States.
Not here, though. Okay, this is the U.S.
I feel bad about that. Like, I understand that, there's a real dark side to religion, but, there's a lot of older people that find it's a very important part of their life.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a community for them. It is family for them, for a lot of older people. And,
definitely. I get it.
It makes me sad that that's going to change for them.
Yeah, right. I think about it all the time. How just that all of these different groups of people have some foundation in their life that they can always turn to, regardless of the scenario. Whereas people without that have to develop some tools for staying centered and staying focused. And now part of their practices require groups, and there's not going to be any groups. So it's going to be different. A lot of people are going to not have that way of centering themselves anymore, and because they haven't built up these other tools, it's going to look weird.
Because I'm a total stalker of people in our neighborhood. There's this older man that I stalk, and he comes up every day and gets like his dinner groceries at the local grocery store, and he gets a coffee every day. And about 3 to 4 days a week prior to this, he would have another male friend, and they'd be like different male friends, and they'd have a visit, and they'd sit at the coffee shop and they'd talk. And I don't think he knows me, but I stalk him.
But you know him.
And it is
and every move he makes.
I know what he eats for dinner. Anyway, I totally stalk him. But it breaks my heart because the last, few weeks, he comes up and he just sits on this bench by himself. And it's like, it makes me well up with tears because obviously he doesn't have family. And this is what his life was for however many years I've watched this man. And, it just makes me so sad. He just sits there. And, I don't know him, so I can't go talk to him.
No.
I've been stalking him. He hasn't been stalking me.
Yeah, sure. Well, maybe he is.
He's
maybe he comes there just to look up. Just teasing.
We just stand there and stare at each other. No, he's never acknowledged my existence. And even True knows him.
Oh.
But he doesn't know us.
Right.
So I have to, keep it moving because it would just get weird. Oh, Mom, there's the man you are.
There's the man you've been talking about.
True would, straight out tell him.
Oh, yeah, for
Mom,
sure.
it's the man that makes you sad.
Oh, my God.
She would 100% say it.
That's how she talks.
Yeah.
And that's one example. We're talking about the globe is going through this right now.
And I just feel like, all these younger people like us, whatever, and younger, and everyone just complaining about boredom. Just there's real sadness going on,
There really is.
This man has had no socialization. None.
Wow.
His whole life.
Yeah, it was based on socialization, that's right.
It was just based on these little things in his community, and he can't do any of them.
Holy.
Yeah.
Sad.
I hate it.
The rest of these don't really apply to us.
No.
What we local supply chains are going to be really important.
True informed me the other day.
What'd she say?
There's been a disruption in paper towel.
There has been.
You told her. She told me.
Oh my gosh. She relayed the information about there being a disruption in paper towel.
Why is there no paper towel? So there's a disruption in the supply chain.
Oh my God. That's amazing. She's 3.
She's 3.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
There are going to be disruptions, and they're just delayed. There was a huge...
Well, I think it could only... Who knows where this is also going to go. If things heighten about, if there were things hidden, we don't know where this will go.
We don't.
And I think that, I mean, I would love to see that if we just became more reliant on our own country for things.
Globalization is falling, you guys. It's falling in this
Right
home.
now.
It's falling.
No, but
Yeah.
we have a ton of amazing...
I heard the cartels took over the avocado industry.
I told you that.
Did you tell me that? Okay, sorry.
I told you that.
We won't have avocados any longer.
Well, we'll just have to come up with something else.
They did without avocados for a long time.
Long ago. I'd be sad.
Yeah.
I'd move on.
Oh my god. You'd have to. The rise of telemedicine and the breakdown of digital barriers. Yes, healthier digital lifestyle, all these things. This is from Politico.com, you guys. And so telemedicine in my industry, in integrative medicine, has taken off. It was slow for the first month, but people are adopting. Our situation is extremely efficient. It's unbelievable. The setup we have, it's like a video setup that's connected to our electronic health records. And it's super smooth. And people's internets around here are very fast. And so it's not really an issue for us. But the adoption was super slow. And now it's starting to pick up. I think it was probably the same way for the family dogs.
But it was slow everywhere.
It was slow everywhere. The family doctors have had this going because, we're obviously in Canada, so those visits are free. And they do like a lot of prescription refills, for example.
Well, I think everyone rushed out when this first happened and got all their prescriptions and tried to get everything filled and was getting months and months and whatever.
Makes sense.
But I mean, there was lulls. I mean, we've heard of scenarios of just empty hospitals.
Empty hospitals. And now it's crazy because some of the people who are extremely sick and need emergency care are not going for it.
I would 100% be one of those silly people.
You would be.
I almost didn't make it to the hospital with Ever.
No.
I'd be that person.
Very close. I almost gave birth to that baby. No, I almost delivered that baby. Not gave birth to that.
It was still me.
It was still you.
Although I'm sure it was
you would
painful
for
for you
sure.
to see.
You would be that person.
100% I'd be that person.
It's so dangerous.
I had a broken toe for 2 years.
Oh my god.
Just so everyone's clear.
Still crooked.
It's not right. It's never going to be right.
Yeah, but people are just not going, And
I get it.
People will not go for labs. They will not go. And
Really?
I respect them. Like, who wants to go to the lab right now?
Because they think,
Just because there's other sick people there and you just never
Totally.
know. But what really becomes an issue is like 50% of my practice is integrative cancer care. People are not going for images, CT scans, MRIs, X-rays, ultrasounds. Cancer surgeries have been postponed. And so it's been really, 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 really tough on the vulnerable.
It's going to continue to be tough.
Well, the backlog is unbelievable.
Well, it's that and just like the social, because all these changes that we're talking about are not applicable for them.
No.
If you have immune compromise, if you're in that position, you aren't to open up your circle.
Right. You shouldn't.
And it's like a whole thing. So we're saying to a whole society, this is how you live now for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
It's awful. My sister's in a scenario where, she has concerns and she has 2 teenage sons. So their friends are starting to open up situations. And her sons aren't going to be able to. Now, how's she going to navigate that without them
so
resenting
tough.
her?
Yeah.
No matter how intelligent or compassionate these boys are, at some point they're going... I mean, my daughter at 3, and I'm not even in this scenario, has been repetitively making me play the Rapunzel play. Yeah. Whereas she tells me I am the evil witch that locks her, Rapunzel, in the tower and won't let her out. And she repeatedly says, now she directs.
Yeah, she directs. She's a very good director.
You have to comply.
It's unbelievable.
She repeatedly tells me, now you say, no, Rapunzel, you will never leave the tower. Go back to the tower. And she makes me play this for hours on end. Yeah. And, I mean, obviously she's blaming me for this because I'm the gatekeeper. I'm the one who took her to all the fun, and now I'm the one who's bringing her to none of the fun.
Now you're the evil witch.
And I'm
the bad
evil
mom.
witch. Yeah, I'm the...
What is the name of that
She
mom?
even told me that my hair was turning black the other day.
Oh my gosh, she did.
Like, she thinks I'm evil.
Yeah.
At this point.
You should, tomorrow morning when she
100%.
wakes up, you should really freak her out, and she just go in and start brushing her hair and sing her that song from Rapunzel.
She'd
Oh my God.
probably be like,
She'll be
"Hey,
yes,
snap
let's play.
into the
okay?
play."
Mother, can I leave now?
Cheers.
Oh my gosh. We're deep into Disney. We're deep into it.
I hate all that stuff.
No, you don't.
David, I did.
You
before,
did.
Before this.
Yeah, now you're into it.
I would never.
I mean, you don't like being the
if
mom
this
witch,
podcast was like before we had kids, I'd be like, why would anyone put those princess movies on their
princess,
daughters?
princess.
It's just the blah, blah. And now look at me.
though. Now we're like having a lull. You guys want to be princess? Let's go get dressed up.
However, and anything ever puts on, whether it be like she has like a black t-shirt that says the Beatles on it, she'll be like, I'm a princess. She like sways, and I'm like, oh god.
That's so adorable.
And they're so cute. I can't take it. Whatever. They'll be fine.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine. But yeah, so digital media, I think, is taking a turn for good.
Mm-hmm.
And podcasting is going to be taking off. People are looking for real conversations.
Real conversations, but also the type of entertainment that's actually entertaining, that's not shaming you into feeling something.
Yeah.
Like, I just wish someone great would put out a comedy special.
Yeah, every night.
I want to laugh until
Yeah, just
tears are
easy.
rolling down my face.
Just simple.
Like, I want that right now.
Yeah.
I don't want the type of entertainment I was into before.
No.
I don't want to know, what I was interested in before.
Right.
I'm fine. I'll figure out what I like,
Yeah.
what feels good. I'm going to dress the way that makes me feel powerful and sexy and vibrant. I'm going to decorate my home the way that makes me feel inspired and feel like the word home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to know what y'all are doing. I'm good.
No, for sure.
That being said, I really am into showing off my plants. So if you want to see my plants,
Check me out on Insta.
follow me.
I think we're going to lose weight in here. It's
Oh my
hot.
God, it's so hot in Closet Office.
Holy smokes.
Closet Office is taking a hot turn.
You know how I wanted a sauna?
You have one.
No longer needed.
Yeah, it's great. Here.
Okay, what we need to do here, we need to go through this post. Okay, so we're on Vox.com here, and we're going to go through their 11 points, and you tell me yes or no if you think that this is a societal change that will occur.
Can't wait to hear it.
The first one, a quarantine state of mind will reign for weeks, if not months.
100%.
A state of mind. I think it's going to be longer than months, to be honest. I see people wearing masks. Well, I read today that people are wearing masks in China from fears that stemmed from SARS, 2004.
So, in the same way I talked about my grandparents' parents
Yeah.
going through the Depression and how my grandparents lived, there's going to be things.
Yeah.
There's going to be things. I can't see, we're all going to change. Yeah, 100%. People have been, their awareness to certain things have been heightened that they weren't aware of before. And once, that fear is in something, I can't even now watch something where people are I don't know, sharing food or
It's so
whatever, and I
strange.
get
It's only been 8
uncomfortable.
weeks, but
It's only been 8 weeks, and I all of a sudden already uncomfortable.
Even watching that Michael Jordan documentary on Netflix, 10 episodes, whatever, a whole quarantine series. Just seeing people at the stadium.
I was downloading
"Geez,
photos
that's
from us from January
Yeah.
from Disney, and I'm like,
So many
this
people.
is a world away.
Yeah, it really is.
And just thinking about that, I watched True Lickapole in LAX.
Oh my god.
I'll never forget it.
We think we had COVID after that. We think we think
Oh my
okay.
God. I watched that child lick a pole.
Yeah. That's a world away.
I can't even imagine.
I
And
know.
I thought, well, this is great.
So is it going to be 10 years later, or is it?
I think things are going to change, unfortunately.
The second one here is a mask will become a wardrobe staple. What do you think about companies selling masks?
I think it should be, if it's essential, then people should have it for free. But at the same time, tampons aren't free, so I don't know what
That's
I'm talking
right.
about.
Yeah, I know. And now, these companies are making nice looking masks, and
Well, yeah,
is
I have a
that
friend that owns a print shop, and she's been doing custom for the restaurants, for the servers.
smart.
All the restaurants are doing,
Good for her.
yeah.
Genius.
She's crushing it right now.
Yeah, that makes total
This
sense.
is all all these people are doing horrible. She's crushing it.
So are we going to buy fancy masks? Is that something that's
Well,
going
it's
to be
funny because
happening?
I Googled blush masks and then I thought, what is wrong with me?
Wow. There you go. Yeah, that's a
But, like,
quarantine state of mind.
Yeah.
Holy, holy, holy.
And then I was like, oh, I'll get them for the kids. And then I realized Ever's not allowed to wear one because it's a suffocation
Yeah,
hazard.
yeah, yeah.
True can, and she does and will.
Yeah,
but
she
like,
does.
what would be the theory? Like, I still can't do anything because it's like that insane thing when I see like a mom, like David does all our grocery shopping and with gloves and a mask right now. Because I always have the kids and I don't feel comfortable bringing them in anywhere. And like I'll see a mom and a dad and with a baby on them, like in a ergo or whatever. And the mom and the dad have masks on and gloves and the baby has nothing, obviously. And then they go in the grocery store, do the grocery shopping. But the point is like if the baby gets it
She's just going to pass it
to
them.
them, like I just can't, like, so everybody's not like, and I'm sure I have inconsistencies as well, but like they're just so blatant right now.
Right.
Like we saw a couple at the beach and the guy had a mask on and the girl had gloves on.
Yeah.
And I thought, now what the hell's
Yeah,
happening
that's a
here?
choice that they made.
But what?
I know.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't either.
I don't know what the
can't-
thought process was there.
I almost wanted to ask them. So what's going on
Well,
here?
you know, it's the same thing with me. It's like I'm very good at wearing masks when I'm out.
Yeah, but the other day he touched the elevator button.
Exactly.
I freaked out.
Yeah.
Burn it down.
Get in the shower,
So
man.
What are you doing? Did you just touch that elevator button? He's like,
Okay,
yeah.
you're gonna like this one. Childcare will finally be recognized as essential work too.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Yeah, childcare so important.
Mm-hmm.
We've had childcare open here for the healthcare workers, and thank gosh, or else the whole place would be. America will become a nation of savers. Yeah, okay, so people are going to be protecting their assets.
You know, it's so funny though,
I do
because like
believe that.
there's so many people I know that like haven't lost money because of all this, and they're spending it up still. And I just think, what are you doing? Are you not looking around at all of us?
Mm-hmm.
Like how quickly things can change. Like, you know, this isn't a place where anybody can comfortably live for a couple months without an income.
No.
So if you don't have that cushion in your bank account, like what are you doing not saving? Like they're still just spending everything they have,
Yeah, right.
not taking the lesson.
Yeah, yeah. I think because the majority of people have been impacted, I think the majority of people are going to start being more conservative. But you know what? We get back to, like, let's say we get back to normal next year. People could totally forget all this. They could get totally back to exactly the way that they were.
Well, I think it's so hard here to live under your means.
Yeah.
Like I remember, like I had this conversation. We were walking by this house with this person I was walking with, and she was like, "How do you ever like live in a place like that?" And I'm like, "Well, you can't ever live in a place like that. That's generational wealth.
Mm-hmm.
You never can get the $20 million.
Yeah, there's about
house.
5 neighborhoods here where...
You can't. But even to get into a house here, you have to live way beneath your means for many, many years to save enough money to get that place. And it's like here, people spend all the money just to live here and live the lifestyle and keep up with the Instagram Joneses. Like,
Yeah, definitely. Well, something like 50% of incomes go towards rent and mortgage.
oh yeah, it's
Especially
crazy.
50% of
50,
incomes.
yeah.
That's crazy. Do you think that there's going to be universal basic income?
I think there's a great test pilot for it.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think that...
I don't know how that works exactly. Like, does it mean like that would still anybody that wants to work can work?
Yeah. Just that there's a certain amount to put in everyone's account every month.
I mean, if we could all swing that and free university, I would be very happy for people.
Yeah, it would change society.
Because I mean, it's not going to change the majority of people I know. It's not going to. None of them would be like, okay, well, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Everybody would stay on their career path. So I mean,
It'd be so amazing if we could do that and transition to a 4-day work week.
and if moms want to stay home,
Exactly. Stay home for 2-3 years.
stay home for a few years, have those, important years. It made me laugh because it's like you romanticize it and want to do it, and then like you're doing it,
Yeah.
and it's like the worst job you've ever had.
Put me back to work.
Can I just work a little? It just makes me laugh. But like, if you want that opportunity, it makes me so sad. Like there's so many people that can't have it,
Oh, me too.
and have made the choice.
And some countries are able to do it.
Many, Denmark.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
We should definitely have that.
100%.
The next one here, the U.S. will test run more just policing and incarceration. Yeah, the overconsumption of, or incarceration in some countries is...
Well, that's a whole nother conversation. I mean,
That's
they
a
have
d- that's a deep
for-profit prisons in the States. I mean,
For-profit prisons. That's unbelievable.
it's unbelievable. When I learned that, it just blew my brain. Like, that's the thing about growing up as, like, a white female in Canada.
Yeah.
You are so naive
Yeah,
to,
definitely.
like, what the big problems are.
Absolutely. On that note, however, crime here has been up like wild.
Yeah, I'm very nervous out there.
Unfortunately, crime has been
I've
up.
been
People
super uncomfortable.
people are just super stressed, and it's a little bit weird out there, and unfortunately that has
Yeah, you should
led to
definitely
crime being
remember
up.
that. And also, people, are off medication, on medications. There's a
Mm-hmm.
supply. There's a problem with the drug supply.
Really?
So they're getting, I think, more like fentanyl or something. So like they're also wonky drugs right
No
now.
way.
So you want to be super careful. Our
did not
building
hear
alone
that.
was broken into 3 times in 1 week,
It's
and we
been
are in a
crazy.
very secure place.
Mhm.
Um,
Calculated break-ins too.
oh yeah,
Unreal.
we've been screamed at. I mean, it's been crazy.
Yeah, holy
So
smokes.
everybody should be very careful.
We'll realize that the American economic system is fundamentally broken.
Mm-hmm.
The economic system is fundamentally broken. Yes, yes. We're seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
Voting will become easier and turnout might go up. Okay, that doesn't apply to us. Voting. Restaurants will close and what's left could be vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what's going to happen with restaurants.
I'm kind of like, to be honest, there's like the few places we did order out from,
Mhm.
and a couple places I still are on my list because we've very much like, I made up like a monthly meal plan and we've been really working off that. So it's like a rotation of 7 meals a week for a month, which I'm way overdue to change, which I have to do. But I hope that we all kind of continue with this ordering out and picnicking.
Mm-hmm. It's so
I
nice.
really
I think it's super
enjoyed
healthy.
it. Like I'm not one of those people that are dying to get in a different 4 walls to eat.
No.
I don't care about that anymore.
I
mean,
like the experience of being with you guys and seeing
Yeah,
them
it's fun.
interact in
Yeah.
different
And
settings. But the picnics,
it's been
also
so nice.
super nice.
And just delicious food. And like there's a place I was so excited to see because you don't know some of these businesses like translate or not, but there's a tea room here that does a proper like what's it called? High tea.
They do high tea.
Where all
yeah.
the
We've
like
been-
desserts
we've
and
been
sandwiches
once.
and whatever, and they have vegan, vegetarian trays as well. So we've gone there for my birthday before, and they're doing takeout, and I just think that's so cool because you can get, you have the tea and you have the whole high tea experience with all the different foods, and you can have a bottle of wine, and like you can bring it to a beautiful location or just your backyard or your patio. Like I want to do it for the girls. I think they like surprise them. I think they think that was so special. And they've done so phenomenally well. I would say that they're doing better
No way.
because their space is very small,
Yeah.
and people stay for a long time because it's such a big experience. You can't tell me they're not doing better. They're crushing it. I think they said Mother's Day weekend they did 700 high teas or something like that.
Holy smokes.
There's
Good
no
for
way
them.
they could do that.
And such a
turn over.
nice experience for everyone, too.
It's a beautiful, fun, like it's an experience, and even taking that home is a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really fun and nice because you can dress up,
Definitely.
you can make it super special.
Some of these businesses have been so creative.
So quick to be creative.
Now that makes me think about some of the restaurants that we go to. They could be creating experiences that people could...
That's an
Participate
experience you
in.
can take home.
Yeah, yeah.
You can take anywhere.
It's tough to transition when you're so used to doing things a certain way and having success a certain way. But if you can, right now, this is the time.
But there's some businesses, like I said to you, like there's just no way that they can.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I'm
The
so
resources.
well, there's just no way. Their business model doesn't allow for it.
Yeah.
It's not takeout food. Like, I'm so interested. Like, there's a place here, like that's a play gym basically for the kids, and they do like gymnastics, whatever.
That's a tough one.
How in what world, in what's happening now, are they ever going to be able to open?
Yeah.
They've been doing virtual classes.
Mm-hmm.
Great, whatever. I'm not. I have friends that have done it with their kids and they're interested in it. I don't see the value in that. But I don't see how they can ever open.
Yeah, I wonder.
How can they?
There's always going to be concerns around sanitation.
Always.
Always.
And it's all soft surfaces because that's the whole thing of going there. It's soft for your kids. It's squishy, gross.
It brings us back to like being in the city. We have we have our like routine. We have the museum, and we have the farm, and we have the aquarium, and we have these little experiences, community center,
Science
this
world.
play place. They're all
Gross.
very much like, 100 children are there in the same day.
Yeah, that's the only way that they survive.
Yeah.
And
And-
they're split down the middle, some of them. That's 100, like, all the local memberships that are shoving as many locals in as possible, or tourism.
Or tourism, people
So how
from
are they going to
other
survive?
areas. And people are like, well, we need to challenge the immune system. We need to be out and about. And, kids are the ones who tolerate things the best. And it's important for them to build up a certain immunity while they're young. But this one's...
It's not just that, though. I've always had a problem with this conversation.
Okay.
Because I'm a firm believer. I don't want to raise my kids in a bubble.
No.
But also, it is not in any normal circumstance that we'd be shoving our kids in these scenarios that we do.
This is how we've gotten into trouble in history.
This is how we've gotten into trouble in history. So when people are like, oh, well, it's good for them. I'm just going to bring my kid that still has this horrible whatever because it's fine. Other kids get colds. This is whatever. No one lives in these huge cities, in these buildings where the kids are 100 kids a day are playing in this little pond of water.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yes, play in the dirt.
And I also don't believe that we should be burdening kids' immune systems to that level. I just don't.
Well, that's right. There is a really good point here. One is that, yes, play in the dirt.
Yes.
But don't be surrounded by viruses and bacteria that over time, because they've been in human systems,
and bombarded.
But they have been mutated. They've been altered. They're genetically mutated and become stronger over time. You're not going to find that in the dirt, for example.
But in no world would you also be in that with 100 different kids during cold and flu season. Like, so it's like, I don't know. Like, this is the whole thing where I just want to get my cabin in the woods, raise my kids on Little Beach.
Yeah.
I go back to that all the time. Like, the dream is to have that with the city life. But this is like, just push me to want to go there. Yeah.
Big time. Me too. I think about it every day. In fact, I gotta stop following these Instagram accounts that are like these beautiful cabins.
See, I don't find that negative motivation. It's like, I don't find it braggy. It's just like, I want it so bad.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
It's so beautiful.
So
Because it's so simple, like the way of life.
free money might someday be bound for your bank account. Yes, universal basic income. It might. Say goodbye to handshakes. We talked about that big time. Religions will embrace their online future.
And in that, I feel bad for the oldies.
Yeah, for sure. And that's everything. Yeah, I get it. Society's going to be different, but you know what? Hopefully there's going to be some positive change that comes with this. I think that travel is definitely screwed.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like these travel people that made all the money traveling.
Big time. Yeah, they're done.
Or entertain themselves with the people that like their whole life was based on the
exploring the world, and that's
all
what
they
what they
did.
look forward to and things. And I totally get it. It's super interesting
I
and
hope
fun.
that the rise of authentic wellness, like as a human, like what makes you happy, what makes you feel good, like the authenticity of that is really what comes to fruition here.
Me too. And I think it really will.
Because it only will make the world better.
Yeah.
If everybody's actually happy and fulfilled instead of chasing what they are told consciously or subconsciously of what is the thing they should be and what they should look like and what their this should look like and what this like, I just feel like the world will be such a better place.
I feel like it will if certain things take place. There has to be certain boundaries. Like if the authenticity is that I very authentically, if I very honestly believe the earth is flat, and that's all that someone resonates to, like if we're talking about people speaking honestly, right, and getting away from what the recent past was, which is reality TV and the rise of the influencer. And we now transition what we believe should be a positive transition, which is a transition to authentic, real conversation, authentic, real people. What if that is...
But that would still be external hunting. Like,
how so?
Like, so I'm picturing like a 40-year-old white man in his house, but I'm assuming he has kids and a wife. So what if he like looks at them and is like, oh, maybe I should make my life instead of spending my nights surfing YouTube for conspiracy theories. Maybe I'll like enjoy my family. And to enjoy my family, maybe what makes me feel better? What makes me feel less grumpy? Well, if I go for that run every day, if I turn my shower on cold at the end of my shower, if I, nurture myself with like books, if I know that I need that like 10 minutes at the end of the day for meditation, if I compliment my wife more, if I take the kids sometimes, like she's so much happier and it makes me feel so much better. We have more sex. Like that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I feel like he's not going to start Googling flat earth.
Unless he's extremely stressed because he has no money and has no job and is forced to start a YouTube channel, and all he can think about is the conspiracy surrounding why he has no money.
Sure, but then people have to pay attention to him.
Yeah. That's right.
You know what I mean? And I'm hoping instead of that, people are paying attention to their families. That being said, maybe Brian, we'll call him Brian.
Of course his name is Brian.
Maybe Brian's been spending his nights, researching flat earth because he is miserable. And maybe Brian's miserable because maybe Brian actually is in a marriage he's not supposed to be in. And maybe Brian comes to that conclusion. So, on the surface, a couple realizing they shouldn't be together seems like a negative. But the reality is, there's no circumstance where a couple divorces is a bad thing. Mm-hmm. It's horrible for children, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But two people that are miserable together should not be together.
No, they shouldn't.
It's way worse to stay together.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're right. So there are some positives that could come. There are some positives.
But also, who cares if someone's into flat earth?
Who cares if someone's...
This is a conversation you and I have had before. Like, they're not doing anything to anybody, really.
No, for sure. For sure. One of the points that we didn't read on there was that there would be a rise in kind of like a rise in science again.
I hope so, but I don't know. When I look at anything I look at, like with the states, I don't know. Makes me feel like it's going the opposite way.
Yeah. What's more important is what has really been promoted here, which is a rise in kindness.
Mm-hmm. And what I'm trying to say is, who cares if someone has a hobby of like looking into Bigfoot or flat earth or whatever? It's really harmless. But the point is that when someone authentically starts to look into what makes them feel good and what makes the people immediately around them feel good, and providing a healthy environment, it only has positive.
Absolutely.
Like, is the woman that starts cooking healthy and like being healthy and exercising, are some of those women going to take a dark turn into like anorexia and being obsessive? Of course that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean you shut it all down and don't talk about being healthy and losing weight. Yeah. That drives me crazy. I got to a place where anytime I talked about weight loss, which is my job, a big chunk of my job, people would be, trying to lump me into body shaming. Right. And it's like, no. You're not going to bully me into that corner. Mm-hmm. Obesity still is a huge issue, and I'm not going to back down from that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying someone doesn't look good when they're obese or any weight, but I'm saying it's not healthy.
Yes.
And you can't be optimal. You can't be healthy. You can't avoid certain disease and sicknesses when you are. So it's like, for me, the core is always just a person being fully fulfilled and authentic. And because it's the chasing of all the stuff and chasing of all the things that people tell you should be interested in, and all the confusion that comes with that, and not dealing with wounds and running from who you really are, that causes the pain. And that's what when you're in pain, that's when you hurt other people.
Yes.
That's when that all goes down. That's what builds a terrible environment and then goes from there.
I get what you're saying. And that's how authenticity leads to kindness.
100%.
Just because of that comfort level. I mean, I see it in myself. Mm. It's like anything. When you're true to what you believe and when you stick with it, it's just a lot easier to be present and to be of service.
Just stay in your lane just makes your life so much easier.
Yeah.
And so much better. Anytime that I've dipped out of my lane is when I've caused problems within my own situation.
Right. Oh, this doesn't feel right.
It causes confusion. you know, should I be doing that? Should I be into that? What is
Who
wrong
am I
with me?
doing this for?
I've constantly been in conversations or in scenarios where people are into like certain things or know about, you know, a lot about a certain area where I'm like, what? Where have I been? Like, what have I been? Like, I have no idea what this is, why you're into this. And, you know, it always comes back to, it's because we should be in our own lane. We all shouldn't be into it. Like, conversation used to be that we could all bring something unique to the table.
Right.
You know, like Instagram, for instance, like the photo, like the visual of that, it used to be that everybody had a different perspective and it was beautiful. Now it's all white, bright white lit, exactly all the same, pose the same shit.
Right.
It's so boring, it makes my brain numb. I can't do it.
And then just keep on scrolling.
It's all the same.
Just scrolling.
So then, you know, like, I want to see the beautiful moments of, like, the different experiences. Like, I like that. Like, I
Yeah,
want
me
to
too.
be, I don't want to see just what, like, is exactly what I like. Like, can you imagine? That's all you have is, like, a little army of just people you know, and you're all doing the same, and you're all dressing the same, and you're all the same, and no one has anything unique to bring. Like, what kind of society is that foolishness?
Oh, exactly.
And then you wonder why people are miserable.
Yeah.
That's not real. There's no way those people are all the same.
Well, and we have to admit we've got a bit of groupthink that happens here because we spend so much time with each other because we're also best friends. And so the but the addition to this show is, yes, we have lots of experience and we've had varied experiences and we have varied expertise, but maybe we bring other people on and we discuss their experiences.
Well, yeah, I've reached out to people that are experts. There's about 5 that and they all happen to be women at this point that I've consulted. And they're all experts in varying fields. And some are recognized, as in, you know, viral, we'll say.
Yeah, viral. Have a title, for example.
And some aren't, because they're just doing the thing, living the thing, being the thing, but aren't trying to tell everyone they are.
Yes.
And I find that really interesting. And I one of my friends, I said to her, like, will you come on and talk about this? Because she is this certain area. She lives a very minimalistic, very good at, like, organization, you know, has a very clear eye for, like, what you need, what you don't need. Like, she's like, why would I? And I'm like, because you're an expert in the field.
Yeah.
But it's like, because she's not viral on Instagram.
Right.
She doesn't even recognize that she's an actual expert in the field.
Sure.
And I thought that was so interesting, because that's where we're at in society.
That's where we are.
And she's
Meanwhile, it's probably
literally,
like the best example.
she's the best that I know.
Yeah.
100%. It's just crazy.
Certain things that we dabble in, maybe we chat with people who dive.
Yeah, that's
like
that's, you know, like, and I have some really interesting contacts that I've had over the years, like people that have just, like, consistently been on, you know, in very niche fields that I
Right.
want to bring on and, you know, talk to.
Oh, it's
Talk about things.
exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I really like this new office. I love this format. I love that we have the ability to have longer conversations that we can then go deeper into subjects and chop up and hopefully if you stuck with us this long, we're so happy that you're listening, and we're going to keep it up. Now we're fully set.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else to add for today?
No.
Thanks for listening. We hope you're all doing well and staying safe, and hope we
Doing
continue
what
to get...
feels right for you and your family.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's all. That's what it's about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Focusing inward, your group, your person.
Mm-hmm.
Remember 4 things: diet, sleep, stress reduction, and movement.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 4 things right now. If during these last 8 weeks you have been lacking on one of those 4
And
things,
water. Drink a lot of water.
Okay, water. You can put that in with diet for your little water plug. For me, it's been lack of sleep. It's been not taking care of that. And even if you just miss one of those, sleep, stress reduction, diet, and exercise, your immune system can suffer. And so if you have the opportunity to pull all 4 together, then do it.
I'm secretly sponsored by water. That's
God,
why I'm
you're the
constantly
worst.
plugging it.
Okay. There are no ads on this podcast, only for water. That's authentic. That's legit. There will be no ads. Drink your water, though, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week.
See you.